Larry was real adamant about there never being a charge for true Jorei stuff.
Yeah, this isn't a charge, it's a love offering, but they tell you how much it is. But if you can't give it, if you can't give it to them, then I think you just go move along with the rest of the group.
Okay, cool.
I was with the same Jorei, and I don't know where this is coming from, and I don't really care. But the symbol in Jorei is on the altar, and it looks nothing like that. It's the only symbol I've ever heard of in Jorei, and I didn't do a lot, but it was real helpful to me, and equally as beneficial as anything I've done in Reiki. And they don't charge, and they do have the $100 fee for the initiation, or whatever they call it. But that doesn't look anything like the symbol on the altar, and it is absolute, total Japanese character that says great white light. That's the only symbol I've ever seen associated with the Jorei.
I believe that that's in some of this material as well. I wondered about this too, and that was, the only decent thing that I can find is maybe something from Arthur Roberts.
Well, as I say, it doesn't really matter to me because it's the work that's important and not all this kind of stuff. But I just think they're a really fine organization that does a lot of really fine work.
Okay, cool. I guess if you guys have a center in Denver, that's cool. You still might be interested in contacting that guy in New York. Okay. I leave it up to you as to whether or not you're interested in this at all. I've played with it enough to kind of get a sense of what it's about, and my own personal opinion of what it is about is a series of symbols that have definitions that go with it, and I really feel strongly that these definitions program you in terms of what to expect from the energy themselves. Because my friend did do a little bit of quizzing of like sensitives and stuff, and they came up with some radically different things than was anything listed in there. And he also felt that some of it, and I have listened to the tape set of the workshops and stuff like that. And the interesting thing about it is that he didn't give a lot of information at all about Reiki. Anyway, we'll leave it where it sits. If you're at all interested in it, then feel free to ask for a copy of it. Nonetheless, it the energy is incorporated into what you'll be receiving today. So if nothing else, you'll be able to play with that little extra strand of energy. I didn't really find it to be anything extraordinary at all. I thought that it was more of an amplification of a specific frequency range that was already within the traditional Reiki current. If anything, it kind of threw it off balance. And as I sit here thinking about it, that would make sense if you were no longer really treating hands-on and you're treating across the room. And it was very interesting. I mean, part of this stuff was, people feeling their heart chakras being manipulated. Can you feel this? And then practicing that kind of thing. All the mind candy, psychic tricks, things like that. Stuff that doesn't really interest me. What interests me and what I think is the paramount importance in this is to keep in mind that this is all about healing. More than anything else, this is a healing symbol. This is not a religion. This does have some dogma built up around it, but you leave here. You put the little master thing on your business card. Don't expect people to kneel at your feet or anything because of that. I mean, you're.
But I want my money.
Yeah, you're. Cool. This is all about healing, and healing about me, healing for me doesn't involve, a lot of this additional mind candy stuff, I mean, I put my hands on, I try to allow the process to happen through me as best I can. When it's done, it's done, and if the person wants to talk, I talk. If the person doesn't want to talk, I give them some suggestions after leaving them alone for a little while to reassimilate themselves, and they go, and they come back the next time. I don't have them stand across the room, and I don't draw huge symbol things out on them and spin things. And can you feel me doing this to your doctor? Who cares? I mean, either they're going to get healed or not. Yeah.
What do you feel about the three-time process? We give an attunement, or not an attunement, but I do a full body for 2 hours, then follow it up with 2 other treatments. How necessary is that?
I like the 3 days. I like the 3 days in a row.
Or can it be spaced?
And I like them in a row. And that's because really the most common transfer time between the physical and the etheric body is 3 days. So what that means to me is, if you look at the dynamics of 3 sessions in a row, excuse me, what you find is that initially you're kicking stuff, physically, and a lot of stuff etherically. It gives a much more kind of greased tube, facilitated process for the etheric blocks to manifest and get cleansed out faster. You're facilitating that 3-day process much more powerfully than you could in any good way. If you treat them once and you leave them alone for a few days and they come back, and they're going through that, they're going through 3-day etheric cleanse. We're all going through, constantly. The energy that, anything that was getting kicked out of our etheric bodies is, probably going to drop down in the next 2 to 3 days in terms of a physical standpoint. So anything that you can do in terms of treating in succession to assist in kind of greasing that tube, I look upon as a very good thing. So I always try to do that. Sometimes it works out with people, sometimes it doesn't, but I always try to do it. Silence befalls the crowd.
Good idea.
Well, in working with the etheric doctors and surgeons, if someone goes in for a session of, quote, psychic surgery, unquote, which is a real misnomer, the suggestion is that this person rest for 3 days, no work, no trips, no drive, rest in bed, watch TV, read a book, do nothing serious. If that work is going to be accomplished, because if it is not accomplished, if someone gets up after the first day and goes out and does all of this stuff, they're going to blow out what was done on the etheric level before it had a chance to do it. That's what I call it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, this brings up a point. In the 2 books on Takata, there's a little purple one that somebody wrote to work with her, and it just tells about Takata, and it tells about how she turned her earring from tin into gold or something like that. I can't remember how she did it, but it talks about how long she spent with people, and if she had somebody who was at death's door, she might be at their house for 2 weeks, just like you're talking about. You work on someone for a long time until they're done. So the point that Lisa just made, that people, they don't have much of a concept that, okay, I'll be worked on for a little while, and then I'll rest for a little while. No, they have to go to work right away. And so it's difficult for people to get into a mindset to allow themselves to actually be able to get over something.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I think a lot of people think that you have to heal someone and see a lot of clients and, have a fairly low fee structure so that people will accept it and blah, 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 blah. I really don't pimp myself as a Reiki healer. Great. I don't know where I picked that up, pimp myself. I am a hands-on healer. I mean, that is the way that I do it. I incorporate crystal grids. I do everything that I possibly can for someone, but essentially I see myself as a hands-on healer, And I see myself, and I'm very thankful for my particular metaphors have changed over the years, have changed with various schools of thought that I've been involved in. But currently, I'd say my metaphor is that I'm very grateful to all of guides, beings, angels, devic intelligences, whatever, who assist and work through me. Because if you get a series of really good ones, you're darn lucky. That's something that you should definitely take advantage of and definitely should use. So I feel really blessed by the team that works with me. Really blessed. They seem to be truly exceptional in what they can do. And that's the real benefit of originally in this class, and I think early on yesterday I said, maybe it was on tape, maybe not, that Reiki is really your training wheels for evocative healing. That's what it is. What I meant by that is that it's an introduction to a series of intelligences, guides, whatever, energy that can do a very effective job at healing, but all it is a starting point in that process. If you never take it beyond just Reiki stuff, and you stick with the Reiki and blah, 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 then, you're limiting yourself from a very large world that's out there. And, Kathleen Moner is going to take a lot of heat because of what she's done. Other people take a lot of heat because of what they've done. But you know, if you don't go beyond the initial training wheels, if you never take the training wheels off, then you're really missing out on quite an exceptional world out there. You know, the Reiki attunement process is amazing, and it's phenomenal because it does something that not about a lot of other things can do. It opens you up to channel energy in a healing way. You know, that's a real specific attunement process. That's a real specific energy process. You know, and the fact that it can happen so quickly is absolutely fantastic. You know, because I mean, you can spend a year or two self-initiating into a lot of things, and here's something that you can have facilitate. And you could spend a year or so self-initiating into Reiki. I mean, you know, I'm not ignorant enough to think that if people don't lay their hands on the symbols and work through, you know, construct some kind of self-initiation ritual, or maybe visualize something, you know, going through the ritual every day or something like that, they couldn't initiate into that in you know, a series of months or a year or so. But, you know, for God's sakes, you know, I mean, you can get it for $50 now, you know. Drop the $50 and go, you know, save yourself an hour and a half a day for, you know, the next year.